So what we did the first session is look at what is this NLP, natural language processing, and I'm not hiding that I'm using Hugging Face and not only Hugging Face themselves, but they're wonderful tutorial. So you can always go back to tutorial, but when I was doing my very first webinar about this, a lot of people said, well, we would want to have a guided tour. Yes, we understand it's all here, but it's nice to be with somebody, and I also agree. For example, I'm coding, but the minute I got that there is this coding assistant, I think it's called, whatever it's called, but there is the AI assistant on the coding, and I'm really enjoying it because I feel I'm not alone. The famous lonely programmer no more, and in fact, it acts as a pair programming. So this is the reason why we're doing this. That is all of the um, tutorial. Now we're going through that, mostly through that. We're also going through the second session. And finally, this advanced session doesn't exist, it has not been written, and that's what we're covering. So first we discuss what is this NLP and what it is giving you, what you can do, and let's quickly review because of course you know it, but it doesn't harm. So you can classify sentences as positive or negative. You can classify each word as what is it, a person, location, and organization. Very useful if it works correctly, and that works correctly. Classifying sentences, I don't think it works wonderfully well, but it's good enough en masse. If you have a lot of sentences to classify it, it will be mostly right, but you can easily confuse it. Then generating text content, let's talk about this. We all hear about GPT-3 and I think even GPT-4, that is a model that making all the news now that everybody is talking, and my family is talking about that, and it I think is getting billions of dollars today announced. So that's really making a lot of news in the world. And the way you can do it is either using this GPT, which is not the same as Hugging Face. So you can use Hugging Face or use them. And then still on the subject of what you can do, you can get an answer from the text. So you get a lot of text and you can automatically get an answer. That's quite amazing. Maybe I'll tell you that I'm involved in one project for legal, for lawyers, for defenders to defend well, homeless people, for example, in California. And we are adding some of these NLP tasks. For example, we're adding text, speech to text transcription, it's called, which is, by the way, it's not such a big deal. It's been around, but in such an easy availability, that's new. So they get, we're not creating it, you understand, we are using existing one, and everybody is just excited. For example, they tested it. There was a conversation of 3 people. 2 people were the main characters, the police guy and the suspect, I would say. But somebody's father was talking about his own business on the phone at the same time, and it correctly understood all the text. It also figured out who was talking. So in the end, it showed person 1, person 2, person 3, and you can wow a lot of people with such things. We're using not any of the cloud ones, but Assembly AI, and it's supposedly is better than anybody else. But I was just lucky. I was studying some APIs use, and there you are. I bumped on using exactly that as an example. So that is the dream of everybody, including Google, that you would put AI into your code, into your application, and wow the people by having it so easily available. It also has the translations and more. Now, what we're doing is going through the out-of-the-box capabilities. And I'm showing you how to do this out of the box. And last time we discovered that not everything works perfectly. I think, do you remember something that just didn't work at all or worked very poorly? Yes, do you remember what it was?
I think it was extracting answer from a text or
Okay.
yeah.
Extracting excellent text. Yeah, I have as a demo, but that demo is not real. And based on that demo, down below it probably says little letters that this is what we want to do. But based on this demo, people are impressed and they call me to do it for them. So again, no hiding. I'm using the hype. Okay, let's continue. What we did was look at what are the benefits if you use them. And now I'll show you what this Hugging Face is. They created the hub. So let me open. Let's go to the Hugging Face. If you haven't created your account, it's worth creating it. It is free. And first of all, you use it to see all the models. Now, last time we looked at it, there was less than 100,000. And today it's 111,000. Anybody is allowed to upload their model. And that's an amazing amount of model, also quite a lot of junk. So you have to be careful which specific models you use. You can investigate these models. Let's see, that bird-based case is the standard model because it's mentioned in a lot of tutorials. So it's quite standard. That's where you can play with it. Okay. And I think you can also try the API because it's hosted. Look at an example. Let's look at example. I'm not going to go through that today. I'm just showing that here you are, all of the models. So it's like Git, which has all of the code. And that's why it was able to create the AI assistant for programmers. So that is very powerful. I don't know how they will compete compared to GPT. These are two different companies, but two is not such a crowded place. So that's the first thing that you get. The next thing, and the first thing we're going through out of the box. So that shows you the menu of out of the box models that you can use. First of all, what do they do? Like sentence similarity or summarization. That's an example. Also, all summarization models, 716 of them. So you will have to do some work to figure out which one works for you. And then the languages. So it definitely is a revolution. You see that. See it on your own, what it can do. But then what you want to do is train it on your data. And that is an interesting turn of events because up until now, people were training from scratch, which costs a lot. It costs like a car running 20 years. That's how much it costs to really train a big model. That's number one, why it's not a good idea. And secondly, it costs you about 100,000 to train the model, also enormous amount. But instead, you do this, you use the existing model and just add knowledge to this. For example, you want to add knowledge of some very well-defined set of questions and answers, and it will be trained on just that one based on the previous model knowledge. So that is the modern way of doing things. That's what people do today. You just need to find which model you start with. Now, where do you put your newly trained model? That's right here. I'll show you where you put it. It's mine. And you, no, that's not mine. That's my model. So you see it probably by just opening Hugging Face if you have an account. These are the two models that I first ran out of the box, but then I followed the instructions and I created my own fine-tuned model with a bit more. So that would be your second step. We're not doing it today. Today, we're still going through the out-of-the-box capabilities. But, well, tell me, guys, who is excited? Because you see that that is a real revolution going on. Up until now, we were only talking about that revolution. And the fact that Hugging Face was already a revolution, at least a recognized revolution for years, good. But today we see the results. That's everywhere. So I'll go and look at the chat. Here's my chat. And I will ask you just that one question. Who thinks it is a revolution? Okay. Well, okay, who doesn't think it is a revolution? Yes, yes, it is. It is indeed a revolution. That's, yes, I agree, because I also think so. But who thinks it's just hype? Hype there is. Nobody will argue that there is hype. It is just hype. Otherwise, you don't have contrarians and you don't have the opposing opinion. Okay, it's between hype and revolution. Yes, and it's just how much hype you absorb, and it becomes not hype but revolution. Okay, so now let's do some more labs. We kind of touched on what we did last time. The labs are right here. Now, again, let's go to the link for students that you have. Just in case, I repeat this link so you don't have to look too far. It's right here. You can open. Now, in this link, it mentions where the labs are. Webinar run. And this webinar run has all the labs here. So let us open our labs. Okay. And let me review where we were. First of all, there was the install. The install was easy, but still it took between 10 to 20 minutes. So this time you don't have to do it. After the install, you could immediately try. You can verify it. So I recommend that we still do it. Everything is installed. Why? That's because it will take a little time the very first time. So I'm copying this, going to my machine, which is right here. I'm copying it into the clipboard right here. Okay, and then I can right away put it right here. Now for here, I have to Control Z, take it out, because it mentions already the Python. It's running Python from the command line and then saying from transformers import pipeline. That is our main object. Everything that we do in Hugging Face, we do it with pipeline. And then we say pipeline sentiment analysis, I love you, should be very positive, and of course it will be, and print the result. Well, that's an enormous amount of stuff that's going on, but if I click here and paste, then it should run. But the very first time, it should take some time to run, even though it's a powerful machine, it will take some time. So let's wait. You can also verify your machine. That's because it's running this way, so it's invisible. but invisibly downloads the model, runs it. That's why I'm warning you that it takes a little time. Meanwhile, what I can do is open another terminal, for example, and let's see what's going on. Why does it take so long? I think the reason is because it's CPU. Let's look, system XFCF terminal. That is the terminal. I'll make it smaller because I want to still see the old stuff. Okay, and let me try to do top. What's going on and why? So it's done. I don't understand why it is. Okay, well, it's done and it's shown me. Maybe it's downloading some additional models. I think the first two times that was a little bit faster to start, but then you don't have to install, so it's definitely worth it. Okay, I can get here out of top, and I can say Python just to verify that the Python will work, but by now it's done. Nice. So by then, I'm convinced that it's working and returning the results. Now, if I repeat this, it should be very fast. There you are. That was initial load that we didn't see. So let's go to the lab. Let's see what labs we already did. And let's continue. That was the installation lab. It was easy, especially for you now, this time that I prepared the machines for you. Let's look at the next lab. That was install data sets. Well, installing data sets was also easy. I'm not showing this because I probably did it. Let's try that. Python. I'm copying that again. That's how I'm doing this. And then I'm going into this clipboard, putting the new command in. Once it's in, I don't have to paste it. I mean, don't have to copy it. I can paste it right away, right? Let's see if it loaded data sets. Yes, it doesn't complain. It loaded them and it takes a little time to verify this, but that's okay. Meanwhile, let's go to the next one. Lab number 3 is where we really start going through transformers and what they can do out of the box. So the goal is to do classification, question answering. We did some of it, but we didn't do all of it. That's what I want to dedicate the time today. And we all logged in. We all tried this. So let's do it again. Now, this time we're going to investigate a bit more. So let us try to do sentiment analysis, and I'll go one line at a time. So this one line, load. Okay, that worked for the data set. This time I can just select all and delete it so that you see what I'm doing, and then load the sentiment analysis. That assumes that from here on assumes I'm within Python. So I'm saying Python, and now I'm pasting this, and that, that's because I forgot to import the pipeline. So let's look at how you import pipeline. This is what I forgot. So I'm copying this, putting it here, and let's do both lines at a time. So these are the two lines that I'm running, importing the pipeline as the main object, and doing the first pipeline that I want to use sentiment analysis. Oh, and I erased it. Very smart. Okay, so let's run the first command after all. Now that didn't take too much because by now it's warmed up. And let's do the second command, this one right here. Classify this, which would probably feel positive. But you remember the classifier, you can easily fool it and it will make a mistake. So let's paste it there. It's all right to paste multiple lines. Hit enter, and there you are. That was quick. So it was positive. So that is where I suggest that to get a feel for what are the limitations. For example, I can say, I have not been waiting. And it's positive, whereas it should really be negative, right? But let's convincingly state my point of view. And let's use some jargon. Because it's junk. Negative. Now at least got that. And I invite you to experiment and share the results because we're investigating how does the model perform. If you have anything to report, please tell me. Now I'll look in the question and answers, no open questions. So we can all chat and that's good, but I don't hear from you. Neither on the chat nor on the sound. Oh, and then we have quite a lot of participants. Okay, so let's do this. First of all, you all need allow to talk. I'm doing this. Hello, Joe. Hello, Ken. Hello, Latin. There you are. Okay. Okay, now we're talking. So very good. I allowed everybody to talk. Talking permitted. I also promised that we have more people. If we have more people than this, then I will start more machines. Let me do this and let me see how the promised Terraform works. So I'm applying this and I am creating this time 20 machines. But supposedly it should not ruin the existing ones. It should realize that I already have 15 or 12. That result I will know pretty fast. Okay, already done. Let me check. Let me show you, especially those people who just came. Let me give you the link that you need, and then we'll analyze what you guys are saying. So first of all, the link that you need is right here. That's for students. Okay, that's the link, and I'm giving it to you. So if you don't have it, there it is. Now that link allows you to see all that I show on that screen. And the one that you need is webinar run. That's where we're saying what we did. I have been negligent in updating this today. So I will update it after the class, what we've done. That's what I will do. And the materials are right here in Hugging Face. The DL, deep learning, that's just to show you history. That's what it used to be. But now that's not even relevant, I think. However, some people will say that no, it is still useful, still relevant. And when you go deep, you need that stuff. Besides, that really is offshoot of my class that I'm teaching for a company. So first of all, to them, I'm saying this is all very useful. And secondly, maybe you will go deeper. So that is why it's kind of what's inside. But you can be satisfied with just Hugging Face. That's number one. Number two is once you look on the virtual machines, you'll see all of these virtual machines. Some of them are taken. I see that 2 are not even taken. That's okay, because maybe you were bashful to take these machines. So I'm giving you many more of these machines. Let me do this. Okay. So far we went up until 118, and I'm giving you more. Okay. Here it is. And therefore you see you have more machines, and I will give you the passwords for these. The last password is F7. These are the new passwords. Okay, now we have the passwords as well. Okay, so this is right here. In other words, those people who want to grab a machine, just come here, take any of the machines that is not taken, and then take its password. I'll give you an example. Let's say I take the last one. Okay, so I copy the IP and I put it into the browser, the new tab. It shows up as a sandbox. And then I click on access via the HTTP, and it will ask for the password. The password will be the last password here. You will have to count. I chose to use the last one, but you will have to count. And I use this password, and boom, I'm in. Now everything is working. This time those machines are prepared. Hugging Faces is installed and Python's installed, and I'm getting out of that machine because you may want to use it. So that is the machines, that is the set of machines for you. So the newcomers, please grab the machines for you and start using them. Okay, now let's go to the labs, because that is the essence of what we're doing. That's the labs. We use the pipeline for classification. The next one is, that was really sentiment analysis. That was classification. The classification worked pretty well, but I promised that I will look at what you want to say. I've been waiting for the course all my life, and it says it's negative. How come it gave you the different result? Oh, my whole year. You said my whole year. So now we decided that it's negative because you're complaining that it's too long, right? Well, so how would you investigate it? I'm sorry to say that you're not happy with the service, and that's negative. That's wonderful. And I'm not understanding why it's taking so long, okay? So these examples are working very well, but I would say for practical use, you cannot rely on every sentence being perfectly analyzed, because I've seen examples where you can confuse it. So maybe on the average, it works pretty well. And if you're implementing this as a customer service that reads the results, then it's probably good. But everyone, I don't think it would work. Now, exactly what would you have to do? How do I know, Jai? How do you know? You just grab it. There is no assignment because we're open course for all of us together. So you go to this virtual machine and put the word Jai right next to a machine that's open, and it becomes yours. All right. Okay. You're very welcome. Okay. So let's go back. Now you would have to investigate. You would have to look at the code and check exactly which model it was using. So if we go back to the code itself, zero show classification. So we would have to find this model on Hugging Face and maybe even play with it and see, do people complain? Because that's an open marketplace, not even marketplace. An open place. So you will have the comments. You will have a way to improve it. You will have a way to train it additionally with your specific data. And then you will have a way to save your model into Hugging Face and use that and run that. Now, when you do this, now your account becomes active and you might get charged. Not that much, but keep in mind that when you're creating your account, then it's like GitHub. Some things are still free, but some things are not. Okay, so did I try that? No, I didn't. So what I suggest is we try this. We'll say the classifier zero shot classification, which means just work out of the box. Okay, so I'm copying that. Going to the machine, pasting that into a clipboard and pasting it straight into the terminal, which now it shows me a little bit more. Before it was hiding it because I was running everything from the command line, so I didn't see this. That's important. It tells me which model it's using by default. So it's using the BART large MNLI. And then when you search for it, well, let's try this. Let's copy that. It says that it is contributed by Facebook. So let's go and go into Hugging Face. Then look into models. Then search by name. I didn't copy it out, right? I needed this. I needed to say that. And then I needed to put it into, well, copy at least this. And then I can search this here. Okay, so let's find. That seems to be the one that it used. So I will look into this model, and now I will investigate it. And I think that it would be good to dedicate our next session to this kind of investigation, because practically you need to know everything what you see here, and why is it not working perfect to your expectations, and where can you test it. And later on, we'll talk about how you can improve it and fine-tune it and put it back. That's later on. But at least we need to do the complete investigation. I think that makes sense. So I'm not going to do it right now. But next time, I think we will start with that kind of investigation. What I wanted to accomplish today is finish all the out of the box, and next lessons go deeper. So let's do this. Here is out of the box. Let's quickly do this classifier. And we understand it's probably about education, so that should work. Right, and let's put it here. Okay, this is course. It says it's education 84% probability, business 11%, and politics 4%, which is probably correct. And classification is where you will get the best possible results, because classification, it's very easy to get it right. It's one of the three. That's not your feeling negative or positive. That's not that. That's an easy task. So I'm not surprised. Now, what I don't understand is that the advertised results are usually showing great scores on all of the tasks. And we really practically see some tasks getting better performance. But what I want to show is everything out of the box. So let's go and look at as many as we can. Text generation, you can generate the text. So let's really generate this text. You see, I'm not importing it every time because I imported it once already. And I'm going back. I'm opening this, putting it here, and now I can run it. So I can close that and run it right away. And I'm doing text generation. It's telling, by the way, what the model is, GPT-2. So that's not the latest GPT-3 that's making such noise in the world, but it's still very good. In this course, we will teach you how to identify the best and worst used functions. Well, maybe it doesn't make perfect sense. It really is to amaze people, not for practical uses yet, but we would look for GPT-3 and we would look for what's the latest model on Hugging Face and replace that. Maybe we'll do it the next time, but I want to finish up all of the out of the box in this lab. So using a different model for text generation, find missing words. I think entity name recognition and question answering are the two interesting things, and summarization. But however, I didn't achieve the goal that I set up. I wanted to run everything out of the box, and I didn't. So what I'm suggesting, by the way, this French does work. Let me show the translation. And that will be the lesson that I will do. I'll leave you with some homework. Okay, so let's run this translation. I remember it gave me some trouble. That's why I'm choosing to do this. Okay, and let us paste it here. So it didn't work, and it says install sentence piece, because otherwise it wouldn't work. So I would open Terminal Emulator, pip install sentence. I remember I had to do something else. So I'm not showing you the complete solution. Okay, it's installing. I'm just showing you how you will work with it. Okay. Takes a little bit of time to install, but not terrible. Here you are. And try to rerun it. Try to create this translator. And again, we have a problem. However, I fixed it. I remember that I did it. And sentence piece is already there. So I suspect that that is not exactly the right code. What I did yesterday when I was preparing is I went to the tutorial. The tutorial is a Facebook tutorial. I'll do it again, not right now, but I will try to fix it, make sure it works. You can do the same thing. The reason I'm doing this is that it's all too easy. If you just copy and paste, it works. Let it be better, let it not work, and then you'll fix it a little bit, and you will be doing it yourself. So I'm almost at the end. What I will do is this. I will tell me what the plan is. The plan is the next session, next Friday. Now I'm using prepared machines. No time spent for install. And I'm planning to do the investigation part. If it doesn't work out of the box, what do you investigate and how do you improve it? That will be the next session. And also open, I have a few minutes. Another thing that I will do, these machines will stay up for let us say maybe 3 hours. Yeah, somewhat expensive. That's why I don't run them throughout the week. But 3 hours throughout the week. 3 hours, I promise. Okay, and now questions and answers. Okay, everybody's allowed to talk. Everybody's allowed to chat. Nobody doesn't, it seems, but that's okay. It's enough that you came and you know how to get the most out of that. So get in touch, email me. I'll put my email here. Well, the email will be and is on the webinar run. It's here. So write to me, ask questions, express your desires. What do you want next week? And thank you very much. Everybody should be well.
फोन किधर बेटा? हैं? अभी रखी रात में.
Okay, thank you very much and goodbye.
Book and everything properly. Don't just leave and go. Take the responsibility with that.